Before we begin, feel where your body is touching something. The chair, the floor, car seat, the fabric you're wearing, the ground beneath your life. You don't have to agree with me. You don't need to improve or fix anything. Just let your body listen. This is not advice. This is a transmission. Take what lands and leave the rest. Place one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Notice, what is there? What is there? I want to tell you about the achievement that broke me. Malawi, 2016. Tea plantation, boutique hotel. I was managing very successfully a high-end operation in hospitality. On paper, impressive. Oh, in case you didn't know, Malawi is in Southeast Africa. Once again, I had made it. I set my mind on something and I achieved it. Manager, responsibility, leading a team. Inside, drowning. I was drowning on the inside. Jackson, Wyoming, United States. How I got there? It's a wild story. It's a wild story. I was, after my yoga teacher training in India, I traveled to Hong Kong and then through Myanmar, Burma, and traveling solo, and there was this balloon festival in the east of the country, which was pretty difficult to get to, but those two Swiss girls and me, we managed. And it's a local tradition for the harvest full moon in fall that teams from different villages, they gather together in this place called Taungi, and they compete with handmade paper balloons. So they spent the whole year crafting those incredibly paper balloons with like beautiful drawings, and yeah, I'm not even sure who wins, but it's an incredible experience. Like, so busy, so many people, so alive. And at night, some of those balloons have like little candles or fireworks, and yeah, some of them just explode, implode, go sideways. It's a huge spectacle. And there I saw this man. I saw a man running around with this big camera. I was like, ooh, I want this man. And I got this man. He didn't want me at first, but anyhow, we ended up traveling together, and I went back to Austria. I was broke, right? After India, Hong Kong, Myanmar, with like no money, no idea what to do. And he emailed me flights. He emailed me plane tickets to Jackson, Wyoming. So I went. And a part of me knew that I wasn't ready, but I overrode that and still went. And I'm grateful I did. I was meant to stay for 2 weeks and ended up staying way longer, and spent the winter in Jackson, Wyoming. And he took me skiing all the time and lots of ski touring, and he really reintroduced me to ski touring, which I'm still so grateful to this day. But yeah, I wasn't ready for his love. I was not ready. And anyhow, it all ended very disastrous. We're really good friends now, many years later, but during this time in Jackson, Wyoming, I had no income. I felt I had nowhere to go. I don't know how I did it, to be honest. I still managed to pull out money from somewhere and rent a car and went on a big ski road trip for the States to Telluride, Colorado, and to Utah and Steamboat Springs. And I mean, I don't know how I did it, to be honest. But the story here is, again, identity crisis, right? Who was I? What was my next step? I had quit law. I had quit diplomacy. I traveled all over Southeast Asia. I traveled through Hong Kong, Myanmar, India. What's next? Yeah, so I was on the phone with my little sister, and I was crying my heart out, like, who am I? What are my next steps? What am I supposed to do? This sucks. And she's very wise. My sister is extremely wise. And she was like, Flora, take a deep breath. What do you really want to do? And back then, when was that? Late 20s. I had a dream. My dream was to start a retreat center someday. So my wise sister suggested, why don't you try to manage such a place or gain more experience in managing some kind of hospitality operation? Bam, landed. Next day, I was subscribed to this newsletter, which pretty much had cool job offers all over the world. And in that newsletter, the day after, there was this posting that this place is looking for a manager for a boutique hotel on a tea farm in Malawi. If you're like me, I had no fucking idea where Malawi was. I had to Google that. I'm like, okay, cool, Southeast Africa. Didn't want to be in the States, didn't want to be in Europe, so that felt aligned. And I applied, I got the job, so Malawi it was. I moved to Malawi. It was so otherworldly. I think I shared that snippet already where the plane landed, and I looked around and noticed that the land was so barren. There were hardly any trees, but like not savanna-like barren. And later I found out that everything was it was deforestation everywhere. All the trees got cut down. And landing in this lush green tea plantation, which was still so incredibly colonial, like very white Scottish and third generation leadership telling Black locals what to do. And I was a part of it. So to some degree it was stunningly beautiful. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been in tea, but it's so green. It's like such beautiful green, the tea plant, Camellia hamamelis, and the views, and then the earth there is really red. So the dirt roads through the plantation where there's like red, blood red life arteries moving through the green. And yeah, here I was, managing an extraordinary team to create high-end experiences for international guests. And I worked 12-hour days for weeks on end, and I was like so invested, and it was somewhat exhaustion marked as purpose, because it's like, I'm doing the thing that I wanted to do, I'm doing it, but at the same time I was so tired, still drinking hard, still doing lots of drugs, and I was trying so hard to be a good manager and lead with firmness and love. I tried. And one day the owner invited me over for tea and presented me this letter, written piece of paper, from the team, where they voiced bitter complaints about me. Really bitter complaints about my leadership and my communication. And I was heart shattered. It hurt so deeply because I tried so hard. Perhaps I tried a little bit too hard. So yeah, it really hurt. And it might have been the first time I cried since the yoga experience in Laos. Yeah, that really hurt. That feedback really, really hurt. And there was probably a lot of truth in it, right? But back then I couldn't see it, and I could only see that I tried so hard, and I took it really personally that was not received. And I also tried really hard to make a home there. It's one of my superpowers. Yeah, you give me a space, I'm like, I make it home. I got fabric and had pillowcases sewn and tried to have fires in the little fireplace. It's not that warm in Malawi, especially at that altitude. Yeah, and candles, but I got to live in this little bungalow where all the windows had bars. The porch was barred in. Hardly ever any electricity, hardly ever any running water. Impossible to keep anything in the fridge. With the little water that was, I tried to kind of, heat it up on the stove, maybe pour myself this much of a bath, and it was rough. And with how electricity works in this country, it's scheduled outages, and they last way longer than the schedule. And it's chaotic. It was really hard. It was also the time I got malaria. I was very lonely. I was really lonely, living in my little bungalow up on the hill. And on the plantations around, there were other people, but most of them came as a family or had partners. So I was quite a unique case of showing up there all by myself, wanting to do the thing on my own. And there were some social events like craft nights with the plantation wives, and I always felt out of place. I'm like, I don't like being here. But yeah, I tried. And I loved partying in Blantyre. That was the closest city, like an hour away. And I mean, going to the clubs there was phenomenal. It's like, so alive, so vibrant, so good. And then there was a very interesting scene of post-colonialism where, white settlers from second, third generation did their thing. And I also must say that I met some incredible people. One of them, my partner at the time, another man who tried to love me, and I could not receive it yet. The one who healed me or helped me heal in my whole malaria delirium. And I met this woman at an incredibly beautiful festival on the lake shores of Lake Malawi, and she introduced me to Africa Burn. And I don't know, just 2 years ago, I was invited to a wedding in Germany, and just like some really, really beautiful people. And I also loved traveling through the country, either stuffed into a minibus with way too many people and chickens and dried fish, or driving around on my own. I got to experience incredibly beautiful places, where new friends took me to lodges they managed. Like, I got to stay in this incredible safari lodge where it's like deluxe glamping with tent and open bathroom, and at night I hear very loud noises like I'm not doing a good job here, but hippos at night, very loud creatures, terrifying. So incredible experiences, from horseback riding through the plains along the lake to a very remote, highly spiritual forest retreat tucked away into the hills, some old ruins from slave trade routes, getting onto an ancient ferry, the Ilala, with a friend, and sleeping on deck of this ferry because all the other places were taken, or our reservations didn't go through. Sleeping under the stars and like moving over the water, and you had to climb a rope ladder to get on and off this ferry. It was incredible. I traveled overland through Malawi into Tanzania solo, traveled overland through Tanzania to Zanzibar. It was really big adventure times for me. Hiking the highest peak, Sapitwa, the forbidden place in the Mulanje Massif, wakeboarding on Lake Malawi. It was incredible, but also I was dead on the inside, and there was so much on my inside, but I had no capacity for it. I was living over it because I had no capacity to be with it, be it. And ignoring was easier. Plastering on, parties, drugs, drinking, Malawi gin. It's excellent gin. It's very funny. Cocaine, heavy greasy food, like just shoving it down. And I was not meant to stay there. I was really not meant to stay. And I really wanted to stay for 1 year, but after 9 months, I was like, I cannot anymore. I cannot. And I had great support from some new friends, and went on this adventure overland through Malawi to Tanzania, Zanzibar. I knew, especially I came back to pick up some stuff on my way to Cape Town, and I knew that I would never return. And the energy there was unbearably heavy. The energy in Malawi is dense as fuck. And it is one of the poorest countries in the world. And one of the presidents in the second half of the 20th century, he decided to swap out the traditional crop, which was millet, but a specific kind of millet, forgot, super nutritious, swapped it out for corn. And corn is heavy demand on the body, like it empties out every soil, and really turned the country into high dependency on fertilizer, on GMO corn. So by now, it's not a great place. It's heavy. It's a very heavy place. And there's so much beauty too, right? Like Lake Malawi. Oh my goodness. There's huge contrast everywhere. There's that contrast on the tea farm the contrast in town where there are like, fancy lunch clubs, but also the markets, which are just insane. The clubs, luxury safari lodges crammed into minibuses. Yeah, it was so much polarity, so much contrast everywhere. And I'm so glad that I did some training in yoga before this time, because it allowed me to, I don't want to say find my center. Find my center would be a little bit too strong, but remember my center every now and then. And also the contrast, the polarity between the dopamine hits related to work. Like, hosted a high-end safari group from Norway successfully, or after high tea on the weekends, it was just this like, whoa, hi, and then you crash. But there was also aliveness, right? Like, I started tapping into aliveness, and that came with dancing, as always. You might know that about me by now. I love dancing. I love to rave. I was fearless. Yeah, I also didn't care. I drove drunk. I drove drugged. There was this man in my life who really was into all those things too. Running was great. I'm not sure where my running came from at this time of my life, but I enjoyed going for runs through the tea fields. I did an insane adventure where I mountain biked. I mountain biked through the tea fields, through hills, and into down to this river where it just got really, really hot because it's way lower elevation, right? And then my buddy picked me up and took me to the safari lodge. Anyhow, big adventures. Meditation gave me some sense of safety, of ease, of self, of grounding. Yoga practice, physical yoga practice. Feeling the sun on my body after malaria. Going for my first walk after that. So I was starting to expand my awareness. Yeah. But I wasn't empty. I was full of the things I had no capacity to be with. Still, no capacity to be with. And we all do that. Yeah, we confuse dopamine hits with aliveness. And I'm not talking about dopamine from sunshine, or there are many other ways to get healthy dopamine naturally. I'm talking about intensity, yeah? The achievements that give you spikes. The mental reward. You want the thing, you get the thing, mission accomplished. Gym, and then you crash. But aliveness is a sustained presence in your body. And yeah, we fall out of it for sure. We fall off the horse. But getting back on takes less and less effort and time. And this dopamine I'm talking about, it's closing the deal. It's getting the job. Jerking off to porn. And the mental reward, often followed by tiredness, flatness, exhaustion, grossness, doesn't feel good, hollowed out, spent, but not in a good way. And aliveness it's dancing, it's being in nature, movement in nature, full body yeses, tingles, excitement, joy, can come from breath work, from movement, from connection. And your body does not celebrate achievements your soul didn't choose. And success landed on a body that had no capacity to receive it. we were taught to chase wins, not to feel them. Yeah, we were taught to go after the thing, go get it, go next. Never pause, celebrate, be in it. So we keep stacking achievements and hoping one of them will finally land. But at some point the body stops responding because there's too much. Huh? So the promotion feels flat. The exit feels like nothing. The win comes with silence. Because your nervous system is full to the brim, not because you're broken. So it's full of the things you never let yourself feel fully. No matter if it's grief over failure, no matter if it's joy over winning. So dopamine hits are not aliveness. Made you collect achievements and wonder why they taste like nothing. What was I trying to prove in Malawi, and to whom? That I could do hard things? That I was capable, impressive? What was achievement supposed to give me that it didn't? And again, as I already said, I tried hard. I was trying to prove that I can make it anywhere. Yeah, I made it before. I made it in many places in the world, and here I was again, reinventing myself over and over again, doing a new thing. I'm now managing a high-end boutique hotel on a tea farm in rural Malawi. Who's ever done that before? I mean, yeah, people have done it, but no one in my family has done that. No one around me growing up or being an adult has done shit like that. So I was trying to prove it to everyone, including myself. Like, look at me, I can do another hard thing. And I talked about this before, previously, where all the doing, especially doing really hard things, was a way to numb. Yeah, it was a way to numb, to stack achievements, to build walls, to not stop, to keep going, because if I would stop, I would need to feel. And I spoke to the explosive power of those feelings in that previous episode. And the body is smart. Yeah, the systems in place are incredibly smart, and those are protections. Yeah, so trying to prove, I mean, I must say it felt really good when one of the biggest Austrian newspapers published a little piece on me, because I did some crazy stuff. I was very capable. Yeah, I managed this thing, highly successful, with very little resources. And I like to say that the time there really made me so resourceful. I definitely was resourceful before, but I got, this was my masterclass. This was my PhD in resourcefulness. And I mean, it did give me a sense of huge accomplishment, and it didn't feel good to be after 9 months, because I wanted to stay 12, to be like, I cannot anymore. This thing is killing me. And I mean, it almost did with that intense malaria I got. It is one of the biggest causes of death worldwide, FYI, especially if there's no access to medication. Yeah, trying to prove it to everyone, including myself. And I think that's a theory I'm just pulling out of thin air, but it just makes sense in this moment, that having experienced sexual abuse as a child and not being believed in my experience, I had to prove it to everyone, right? Including myself. Whew. When the team letter, it's really hard for me to say letter. Ha! When the team letter came, what shattered? Not just pride, what deeper belief broke? That trying hard is being loved? That doing enough is being enough? What did that letter confirm that I always feared? Yeah, that I was not good enough. I was not good enough to be a good leader. And that was heart-wrenching in that time, at that age, with what I knew back then. It destroyed me to some degree. It really broke a part of me, which is not a bad thing, yeah? But it really broke some confidence and some ego too, where it made me very humble. And back then I couldn't reflect so much, but now I'm like, yeah, I tried hard, but I don't think I was a good leader. I tried, and it's also not fully true. I also want to say that for that team, it must be so hard that at least once a year, this new white person is presented to them as their leader. Of course, it's not great for anyone involved. What's the difference between the dopamine of guests having left successfully and the aliveness of dancing in Blantyre? One performed, one felt. And where did my body actually come alive? When did I feel most alive there? Having sex with my partner at the time. I mean, I also must say I loved doing drugs. I loved getting drunk. I loved dancing at the clubs. Like, all of that was, to some degree, the expression of my aliveness back then. It felt like with those substances, medicines, openers, whatever you want to call them, I could be more of me in a socially acceptable way because I was drunk, I was high. And I mean, now I'm drunk and high all the time without doing any drugs and without drinking. But back then I didn't have the courage to be me, be my alive self without that protection. Your body doesn't celebrate the wins it didn't choose. It celebrates presence. It comes alive in presence, in alignment. And you can't outperform misalignment. I tried many times, yeah. Law 1, Law 2, diplomacy, Malawi. Even in recent times, I tried to outperform misalignment. And it works to some degree, but there are big limitations. And I'm sure you tried too. Maybe you're still trying. Is it working? Let me know. I'd be so curious to know if it's working. Coming to the place of dropping into your felt sense, your experience, your sensations. And again, if you're not in a good place for that right now, you can come back to this at any time. So, taking a moment. A deep breath. And some movement through your hips, your shoulders, your jaw. Question number 1. What in your life looks impressive but feels irrelevant? What in your life looks impressive but feels irrelevant to you? maybe it's many things. Just acknowledging, just noticing. Question number 2. Where are you succeeding in ways that cost you yourself? And maybe not even coming up with the places, but really dropping your brain into your body, into the felt sense. What are the sensations when you hear this? Where are you succeeding in ways that cost you yourself? Just noticing. Question number 3. What does your body quietly say no to? What does your body quietly say no to? And if this is landing in your bones, in your being, success without sensation is starvation in a tailored suit. I'll say that again. Success without sensation is starvation in a tailored suit. If you're done starving yourself, I have space for you. If you're feeling this in your body, the weekly letter from me, Flora Petri, to you is below. This is where I share first about my exclusive private programs and what wants to move through me. Like, comment, share, save with someone who think you would benefit from this. Find me when you're ready.